Hello and welcome to the RationalInvestor.co. My name is Brian Beamish, the Rational Investor. And this means that you've signed up for the site, and I thought I'd do a nice little summary, sort of walkthrough tutorial for new people to the site to try and help you maybe see all the different features and give you a formal welcome. So. Welcome to the RationalInvestor.co, and maybe just take a moment and introduce ourselves to you. This is me, Brian, doing the video. Julian and Stuart, more back office. You don't see them as much on the site and in the publications, but definitely can't do this show without either of these gentlemen. Really important, great people. The three of us work away trying to make this site as interactive, positive environment for users as possible. So way to go, Team TRI. And if anything, now you can sort of, it'll at the very least, put a voice to a face. So this is Brian. I think probably our biggest feature is our members lounge. It always has been for me. And on any given day, there are a lot of people in the lounge. Even on this holiday weekend, there's still 57 people in the lounge here. Just chatting away, exchanging ideas. I love to just pop in and just sometimes see where the direction of conversation is going. And it's not a bad idea, especially when we get in really, really busy markets. I may fall behind on blog posts and stuff like that, which unfortunately I did recently, and I'm still playing catch up, but we'll get to that in a moment. This is actually a great place just to see what's going on. If I ever have any trades or anything, I do like to report it to the community as fast as possible, and I'll post charts. And you can see there I am posting away. And we have a lot of fun in here. It's really quite amusing to just sit and listen and read the banter back and forth and the funny GIFs and stuff people post. Really great experience and some great ideas. The great part about what we do, of course, is we're not reinventing the wheel. Everybody knows what a good buy looks like. A good buy is a good buy is a good buy. And so as a result, what ends up happening is this is kind of 1 + 1 = 3. And the whole reason why I wanted to do this was we're all sort of looking for the same thing. And if somebody sees something, go, hey, look at that. It's like a good idea. We'll all just jump all over it. We had a great example of that earlier today, and I was a little worried I wasn't going to get a fill because I could see all the orders coming in. It was a lot of fun. So be sure to check out the Members Lounge. The great part about it, like I said, if you want to know what's going on and what Brian's thinking, just scroll up, and odds are, I usually on a daily basis, usually a few times a day, post like BTC updates. What am I seeing there? If we happen to have any trades, especially during sort of the North American session, because I'm here in British Columbia, the west coast of North America, obviously that's when I'm going to be most active. But we're posting all through the day. So, as well, note too that if you click this little button up here, you can actually detach the chat, and it floats as its own window, and you can just sort of leave it on your desktop. And I just minimize the pictures, right? And I just like to have it on one of my windows, on one of my screens, just minimized, and so I can just simply interact with the community without having to have this Members Lounge page open. So keep that in mind as well. We do have the Twitter feed, and anytime I sort of, especially trade doubles and stuff like that, we had a nice little bot set up. And we'll talk a little bit about what the bot is in a moment. But we had a nice little setup, hit its target, and we booked some profits earlier this morning. So generally speaking, is just sort of interaction with the public. I like for them to know that we're doing stuff. And so quite often, if you want to see if we're selling anything, and you just want to see what, I'm cautioning people, hey, we're near the end of the run, we're taking profits. Not a bad idea to check out the Twitter feed. And as well, there's also a link to the recent blog posts over here. And we'll talk a little bit about the blog page in a moment. But just real quick reference. So you can be on the members lounge page if you want, but you could also detach the chat from that and then be all over the site and still have the chat interface running. I think we'll actually just jump right on over to some of the portfolios that we're following right now. And what I think is probably going to be the sort of most value added part of the site. Keep in mind that I think, you know, and a lot of people have told us that the chat room itself is very, very valuable. We also, you know, keep a running tally and tab of everything we're sort of doing in the market crypto-wise. And on this page in particular. And the API that we're running tracks everything that we're doing on Bittrex. If I do any trades outside of Bittrex, for example, we've been buying a bit of this gold on Vaultero. I'll manually post the blog write-ups on trades, oh well, and even the sells too, for that matter, on the recent posts. And you know, I've been making an excuse, and you know, excuses are excuses, Brian. You know, get off your butt. So I have been updating the blog with recent transactions here, and we'll be doing more over that over the coming days. I kind of wanted to do this this sort of walkthrough tutorial for people first, though. And this is just a really simple running tally of how we're doing crypto-wise. We started with a relatively small amount of Bitcoin, and we've worked that pile up. Bitcoin's price right now extremely volatile in a very wide range. Frankly, I don't even really look at this number too much on a daily basis. We've been flirting with 100,000 for a while. Where it goes from here, really, we just wanted to own crypto. We have a number of, in fact, what I'd really like to do is try and build what we call an efficient frontier portfolio. So if anybody knows of good sort of anti-Bitcoin proxies, I'm always in the market for hedges. But in essence, we just want to simply have a diversified basket of crypto at any given point in time. And even now we have a fairly large chunk in this tether that's just waiting for the Bitcoin dip to go and buy some Bitcoins. But anyway, that's here nor there. The point is that this is a pretty good interface to just give you a clear idea of what we're doing crypto-wise. And hopefully Brian gets off his butt and gets the blog all nice and updated. You should have sort of a running tally at the very least of what's going on post-wise, especially with new purchasers. We do have plans in the near future to have this as an auto notification feature, and Sjord's been working very, very diligently on building that part of the platform out. So, and it is a high priority for him. So, you know, watch out for that over the coming weeks, I suppose, where we should have that sort of auto notification that if something is processed by the system, you automatically get notified if you're interested. I think for new people to investing, one of the biggest sort of benefits of this site is what we really want to do is just simply demonstrate best practices. That's why this portfolio is done as well as it has. It's just simply that we go out and we've identified a good sort of behavioral pattern in the marketplace, and we just rinse and repeat, do the same thing over and over and over again. I think probably you're going to be wanting to come to the site to really learn how to do that. And obviously we have our school program, which, you know, is just completely sold out. And if you do have the patience and discipline to wait, patience and discipline, but if you do have the patience to wait for a new term, it's not a bad idea to go through the school program to make sure you have all your ducks in a line. You know, from beginning to end, the whole darn program's like, you know, what, geez, I guess about 9 months. But for everything that I think to get new traders off and running and totally schooled up and ready to rock and roll, I think you can achieve that in the 11-1 program, which is basically a 12-week program. So you can consider that. But, if you're on the site and you're like, well, Brian, I'm either waiting for another term, I'm on the wait list, or, I just, I think I've got a bit of experience myself. I just need some sort of pointers and guides and sort of, where's the best direction to go. I think our library here is invaluable. And you could spend hours and hours and hours in here. I mean, probably countless hours, hundreds of hours. And I think it's only fair to, basic site members that we give you access to the information. The information doesn't change in the school. It's just, it's a structured program. But if you can learn on your own, all of the tools, including I've included the basic course text, as well as the sort of contextual articles that I like students to be familiar with, as well as a lot of just really the basic tools to get yourself going and trading right here in the library page. So, we've been talking a little bit about some of these tools in recent daily briefs. So you might, be going through the daily brief videos, which we'll talk about in a minute, and you see reference to some of these tools. So I've just laid them out here. They are sort of open documents, so don't just go and just start writing away on the document, assuming that's yours. Please, if it's a Google document, copy the document to your own drive. And then work away on that. I'll see definitely who actually listen to that. It's sometimes funny watching people working away on these documents. So. But they're consider them templates. They're very candid examples of what it is that I think it's going to take to succeed at this game. The tools are there for you. As well, and this is where you found this video here. I'm new, what should I do? I think, it's not a bad idea for us to, just for especially new people, okay, wow, this is awfully overwhelming. What do I do? So, this video is all about just how do we get accustomed to the site. Once you are accustomed to the site and understand all the features, then, you're going to want to come back to here and get to work. Simple as that. So we'll leave that for the next video. On a day-to-day basis, Monday to Fridays, we produce a hour-long sort of site show, if you will, because I like to have fun with it, called the Daily Brief. It's about maybe first 10-15 minutes of Brian on his soapbox ranting. We do like to review some of the various tools on the site. So if you've watched any of these and you see some of the references, everything that we're going to talk about here in the video today is usually made reference to in these daily briefs. And not a bad idea if you're new to the site to just simply go back and watch maybe a half a dozen of these. Just to sort of, this blog is over 100 and some odd pages long. I mean, you can spend a lot of time in here if you want to. But if anything, this isn't a bad, maybe even start like a week or two prior to where you joined. And start watching the videos from then forward to today. So you can sort of see the evolution of the conversation as time goes by. Because what ends up happening usually in the market is, a pattern starts to develop, and then we end up talking about that same pattern day in, day out. And what you need to do, especially if you're new to this game, is you need to sort of understand that there's at any given point in time, there's sort of a rhythm, and you have to sort of get in step with the market. You have to get into that rhythm. Are we in a buy wave? Are we in a sell wave? What's the market state? What's sentiment? All that. And that's it's a great way to get sort of up to speed if you start a week or two ago and work your way up to today. So remember that. As well, like I said, and what we're supposed to do here, and hopefully this will happen with the automation that I spoke about off the crypto page earlier. This blog should be updated in real time as the trades come in. I will admit, and frankly, I didn't expect it, but because we run such a diverse portfolio, we get sometimes where we go through periods where we do like 10, 20 trades in a couple days, and it's just shocking. And so what ended up happening a week or two ago, actually I guess a month or so ago, is we went into sort of the seasonal silly season in altcoin land, and the trades just went absolutely nuts, and I simply couldn't keep up. I apologize. It's not really fair to the audience, but please understand that I am updating these as best as I possibly can, as fast as I can. And at the very least, I want to make sure that there is a blog post about any buys that I do. If we do profit take sales, I'm not too concerned about that because, in essence, you know exactly where I'm going to be selling a lot of these. Sell half on a double, right? That kind of stuff. But as things calm down, especially if we go into sort of the more seasonal part of the year, into the fall and the early winter, and I'm going to be back on the buy side again, I think the selling orgy will sort of abate. So just understand that as we're doing trades, I would ideally like to be posting any purchases that we're doing, and this is a good repository for that activity. Okay, so another tool that I think is probably worth us just taking a quick boo at here, especially for those who are joining the site who are interested in the broader market, S&P 500, commodities, currencies, stuff like that. I used to work in the stock market, and I built, a 1980s website, and I found this an invaluable tool that I built on my own that just simply tells me the technical breadth of the market based on an algorithm that we asked Seward to build. This algorithm that you see on the S&P 500, it is the basis for all of these votes. In essence, every market is either above or below its fast and slow signal line. And so if we look at the S&P right here, you can see the algorithm itself is below the fast moving average, and the fast moving average is below the slow moving average. So it gets a fairly bearish vote in our sort of voting process, if you will, for the breadth of the market. And these are simply the fast moving average of all those fast signals and the slow moving average of all the slow signals. So it works very, very well because our database is pretty thick, right? We cover a heck of a lot of issues, about 522 in total, which is interesting because this is supposed to be S&P 500 and we're only doing 441. Something's not right there. But anyway, that's here nor there. This is supposed to be your walkthrough video. So I like to use this as a great sort of proxy for how the broader market is feeling. If we have a lot of issues that are below the algo signal line, right, generating fast sell signals, then that will be reflected in the red line. If we have a lot of issues that are below the slow moving average, well, that'll be reflected in the blue line. And you can see that on the broader market, things aren't really that happy right at the moment. And the stock market itself is floundering a little bit. We actually had recent harmonic sell signals on the NASDAQ, which I found really interesting. So this breadth indicator, to a certain degree, is sort of telling us that, hey, and if we look at the algo itself right up here, basically this thing oscillates between overbought and oversold. We're pretty overbought here. There's no doubt about that. I have a funny feeling, just opinion-wise, for whatever that's worth, that this kind of nonsense goes on into the fall, but students of mine will understand why I think that. As well, we do sort of a running tally, the percentages of what the actual indicator, so the algorithm itself, you see that it oscillates between 0 and 100. That's the blue line here. That's the actual algo. And that's basically what these numbers are here. Right. So on any given day, you can actually see, well, is any market actually egregiously overbought, or is there any market that's egregiously oversold? And at the moment, we see that, wow, the commodities sure are on their knees. We've noticed that the oil actually perked up just a little bit here recently, so I don't even see the oil on here. The other day, I guess 2 or 3 days ago, we saw oil was heavily, heavily oversold. So that's an interesting tell unto itself. And it's interesting too, some of these other commodity and commodity proxies are, fairly weak. Silver, interesting how it's so weak there. We can also get a pretty good idea of where the market leadership is in the stock market. Like right now, you can clearly see American Express, and the cool part about it is you can just take your mouse and mouse over that. Holy for holies, American Express is on fire right now. So you can get a very quick view of who it is that's actually driving the market. And I really like that, especially for people who are interested in sector rotation. And just simply chasing the strongest stocks. There are a lot of people that do that. This is a great little tool for that. And conversely, especially for those bottom hunters, this is a great little tool just to see where is the market really hating right now. We often, I don't know whether you've ever heard of the concept of the dogs of the Dow. But the dogs of the Dow theory, and I noticed AT&T is on here. I don't know whether AT&T is still on there. But interesting how AT&T, a pretty big company, I can't remember whether it's still in the Dow or not, but it'd be interesting if that would start to qualify for the dogs of the Dow. We do now include the Poloniex altcoins because the data is actually fairly simple to get. So, for all the crypto-related people, what I would suggest the best way to use this is just simply look at the coins that are sort of in play right now. If you do own them, make sure to have your sell half on a double, sell half on a triple, sell half on a quadruple, whatever your plan is. But just, double check your books if you are long any of these. These things are hot. They're in play, and you might just get some sort of insane price spike. So not a bad idea just to check here. Do I have any of these? I know for certain I've got NEOS. I know for certain I've got VIA. I think I missed VRC. Yeah, I think this one a lot of site members did really well on. But anyway, point of the matter here is this is sort of like the hot list. And definitely I don't think it's a good idea to go shopping here, right? If anything, what you should be thinking is, do I have my sell orders working? The bottom five, interestingly enough, I like this as, as a starting place. Like the trade management process, which we'll sort of talk about in the next video, talks a bit about location, momentum, structure. So I definitely like to use this as sort of like your momentum signal is starting to flash, hey, it's time to get interested. But notice these numbers aren't overly compelling, right? I was really interested in oil, and I noticed oil's having a pretty good rally recently. But you notice that like the oil services sector, this hasn't started to go yet. Maybe it's something we should be paying attention to. Hey, look at that indicator. Look at that beautiful bottom there. But the point here is we can at least use this as sort of, notice the algo. They're not really, they don't look anything like this oil services algo. Look at that. Nice double bottom there. But this is definitely sort of okay, well, this is a shopping list that we can start thinking about, right? Let's put them on the radar screen. They're on the outs now, and the algo is kind of suggesting that they're sort of bottom of the pack. We can, maybe hunt trade location. It was interesting on this SDR. I looked at the chart, and then I said, well, you know what? This is still pretty high level, so I don't really like the trade location. Gonna pass. Digi, no real signs of a bottom. Gonna pass. XEM, again, very interested in here. Maybe a trade off of those key lows, right? If we start getting nice little structural signals, maybe something to look at there. Clammy, algo's not overly impressive there, but at least it's something that's on the shopping list. Let's watch how she behaves off of the daily charts. This expanse, don't really like the look of that. I see more M's than W's, so leave it for today. As time goes by, and so, like I said, Seward's #1 priority right now appears to be getting the notification system going, and we really need to get sharp on that. So I apologize that the screens aren't up now, but as soon as he gets time, we'll get the screens back up and running, and just give you sort of stuff to think about through the trading day. Keep in mind, guys, just so you're aware, once this is all up and running and sharp and crisp, this will become a paid feature unto itself on the site. So while it is still in development, we've just decided not to include it as part of any sort of fee or anything. Just use it as your leisure. If you find value in it, great, awesome. I love to do the daily brief and just give me a nice overview of what the heck's going on in the market. And as time develops, we'll obviously add, Trex coins and all that kind of data when it becomes available. And we'll have a whole bunch of signaling and screening systems. And really, what we want to do is we want to give you, as site members, the ability to tell the screener what it is you want to see. I want to see RSI double bottoms. I want to see OBV divergences. All of that kind of stuff is in the works. So it should be a fun tool to watch develop over the months ahead. Okay, what else is there we should talk about here? I think on balance that basically covers everything about the silver membership. By all means, if you do, we do the daily briefs. I think that's a big value part of this site. And if you want to be a part of them, try and be in the members lounge. Around 9 a.m. Pacific time is when I like to do them, so it's like basically lunchtime for the people back east. A lot of people like to watch it on their lunch hour back east, and sort of late afternoon sort of review for Europeans. So really your best bet is try and get on the site around 9 a.m. Pacific time. I post the site link in the lounge. You can also watch from the YouTube page. It seems to be quite popular that the Hangout does fill up very quickly. So if you can't, get into the Hangout, then please, you can watch it from the YouTube page and post questions that way. We'll be sure to try and answer. What I was going to say was, for the daily brief, probably the best and most efficient way for you to have questions, and it's perfectly all right. There are no stupid questions. The best thing to do is to go into this chat interface on the site. So I did that. I just basically clicked on this users online, this button here. It pulled up this. You can private message me directly if you have a question. But I just clicked on this daily brief request button here, and it pulls up this window. And you can see that people for the daily brief who would, Brian, could you please take a look at this? I'd like to look at this. And we look at everything, from stocks to crypto to commodities to currencies. I don't really care. We can analyze almost anything technically. So if you do have questions that you would like me to actually answer directly on air, this is definitely the best place to post your question. And by all means, as we said, we do have this. You can basically private message me. I don't think I can demonstrate private messaging myself, but you see how I mouse over Adam here, and I just click on that, and instantly, hey Adam, we're chatting now. That cool, eh? I will say that, we recently installed this support ticketing system. You can see that it's kind of outside the site, so by all means, to get back on the site, just I guess hit your back button. Should take you back all right. But that seems to work pretty well. It gets our attention to respond to you guys. So that's a really good way. If you have a question, an issue, and you just want to submit it to the site, that's a great way to interact with us. Okay, so hopefully that summarizes basically the site right at the moment. We are working away on building up the doubles portfolio. Investor portfolio, we haven't really been running too much. We might take that down for now. But the doubles portfolio, in fact, this PIVX, it's really the question is, how do I post this? So I'm still wrestling with this, but I would have actually liked this to have been posted in the only doubles portfolio. Still working on that. But, you know, we recently did an options trade in Apple. That would be posted there as well. So Siord and I just need to do a little tete-a-tete to get this up to speed because it's not doing the job it's supposed to. So look for that to get crisped up a bit here over the coming weeks. But I think on balance, that should give you a pretty good idea of what's available on the site and how to access the various services and features that we have on the site. So, all right. Any questions, of course, feel free to PM me. Hopefully that helps you guys. All the best, and bye for now.